What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. I woke up to the headline that Donald Trump had ramped up his anti-immigrant rhetoric for the midterms, and if you don't know what rhetoric means, it's effective and persuasive speaking is what it is. And if it's effective and persuasive over and over, then maybe there's something to be examined there. And maybe instead of anti-immigrant, it's anti-illegal immigrant is a better way of putting it. Since we're so big on making sure that people use the proper words and the proper terms for things, I don't think a lot of people really have a problem with immigration on the whole. The main problem is people coming over illegally. And I know there's certain factors that make it so some people have to come here and seek asylum or go through different processes outside of the regular, you apply, you come in. But at the same time, at what point do we get to actually enforce our laws when it comes to immigration? At what point is it okay to say, no, I'm sorry, yes, you do have it hard, but at the same time, you aren't eligible? Start the process over, figure out what it is you have to do. It just gets a bit exhausting when people make it seem like it's just anti-immigrant or it's just racist or it's just about hate. When you're telling people this and they know where they're coming from and they're like, hey, I'm not a hateful person. I'm not anti-immigrant. Actually, I have no problem with immigration when it's done the right way. But you're still saying, no, you must be racist, you must be racist. Well, now you're arguing with people about themselves when they know where it is they're coming from, and it's not going to be an effective argument. Because the way people see it is they're like, okay, well, if I'm not racist, and I keep saying I'm not racist, but you keep telling me I'm racist, how many other people is this happening for? How many other people are going through this right now? So then it starts looking like you really don't have a case. Then it starts looking like you're just calling people names because you don't agree with their stance. And I get it. A lot of people feel like if you can put a stake on a plot of land in this country, you should be able to be here. And yeah, in 1776, I'm sure that was a great way of looking at things. But now, in 2018, when we have, getting ready for 2019, when we have, what, 11 million, and that's an estimation, undocumented immigrants in this country that we've got to figure out what we're going to do with, as far as, I think it's pretty clear that they're not going back, especially not all 11 million of them. I think we've already kind of noticed that that's probably not going to happen. So we've got to find out a way to make the system work for these people. We've got to find a way to make sure that these people don't continue to be exploited, because that's what happens a lot of times when people are illegal in this country, because we all know that, or maybe you don't know. Maybe you've never lived in an immigrant neighborhood, because I can tell you, as a person that's lived in a couple of neighborhoods that were highly populated with immigrants. One of them that I lived in was even the founding neighborhood of MS-13. And, you know, MS-13 in the United States, I should say. When you live in those kind of neighborhoods, you get to see the way people get taken advantage of when they're not accounted for by the system. So we've got 11 million people that we've got to figure out what to do with, and now you're trying to have 4,000 come in a caravan, and because you have a soft heart for them, you feel like we're supposed to just figure out what to do with them. And people get upset when Trump uses language like invading our borders, for a caravan of 4,000 people invading our borders. But when you see what happened in the Mexican border, and they did get told, like, hey, you can't come in, and then they decided to try to push through, and then they have to be tear gassed and everything else, well, at that point, that's an invasion. That's what an invasion is. Now, there's nothing wrong with you knocking on my door. But you knock on my door, I open the door, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't have any company right now. If you bust in through my door, that's an invasion. So there's nothing wrong with calling something what it is. I get that some people are very sympathetic to what it is other people are going through as far as the immigration process. I get that, and I respect that that's the way you feel. But that doesn't mean that our laws just shouldn't be respected at all, or that people should be able to force their way in. And imagine if we let, and this isn't like a let's be crazy. Imagine if we do let these 4,000 people just storm their way through our border, and let them in and let them do what they want to do. Well, now everybody knows that all you have to do is get a big enough crowd together and you too can storm through the borders. And now we've got thousands and thousands of people coming in that way. And some people will say, well, that's just you being crazy and that's just you being paranoid. No, technically, I'm not paranoid at all. Am I personally worried about this on any level as far as am I concerned for my safety? No, I really don't work off of that kind of panic. I just see what it is that's happening and how this can turn into an even bigger situation where we end up in an even bigger mess. And when it comes back to my original point, if this is persuasive speech every time an election comes up, maybe it's something that we should pay attention to. And maybe we should stop calling people racist just for saying that people should respect these laws. In some cases, it really is good people that have a particular way they see things or a way that they think things should be done, and that's a part of this country. So where some people feel like certain other things should be more the concentration, some people are really concerned about this, and that's a part of living in a democracy. You get to hear everybody and see where it is people are coming from. But it's not fair to call people racist every time that they don't agree with you. And I know some of you are going to come back on me and be like, well, they call us snowflakes. I don't like the snowflake conversation either. I've been called a snowflake before, and I was like, it's just so childish. It doesn't bother me, make me mad, but at the same time, it is like, can we grow up a little bit? Anyway, that's where I'm at on it. I'm sure some people are going to be mad at me, and some people are going to call me racist. Some people are going to call me hateful. Some people are going to remind me that my last name is Rivera. But let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, and subscribe. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.